trouble if I don't record? Okay. Hi, Chris. Welcome on board.
Thank you for having me.
We have right now, we got 26 members all waiting to listen to you. Before I welcome Chris, I want to know how many of you have watched Chris interview with me. How many of you? Just go to the chat and say I. Just go to the chat. I want to say how many of you really watched Chris in action. Wow. Excellent, excellent. Now tell me from which country. I want everyone to welcome Chris. Go to the chat and welcome Chris, please. All of you. All of you go and welcome Chris.
That's great.
Just go and welcome. This is the family. This is the tribe, you know, and we love this. Very good. Excellent. One from Dubai, from Saudi Arabia, from India. Okay, very good. Tell me from where are you right now reporting? Okay, great. From Qatar. Great. From Malaysia, from Dubai, from GCC. Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. Very good. They are reporting from different countries. Very good. Chris from Oman. Okay, Bangalore. Again, yeah. From Qatar, from India. Very good. Excellent. It's going to go up to, we'll go up to 40 to 50. That's a maximum range that we keep. We don't keep more than that because it becomes very crowded. So there, yes. So we want quality questions. And have you all prepared any questions for Chris? Yes or no? Are you going to put into trouble? Great, great, excellent, excellent. Chris, thank you very much. I got very good feedback about your interview and the way that you presented, especially from LinkedIn and from other social media as well. You were so cool and you were so open, you were transparent. And that is what we look in leaders, and you really exhibited the leadership quality when you spoke to me. Though I was asking one question, but you were giving me in bundles and bundles. It was not information that you were giving me the wisdom from your practice and from the years of experience as a father, as a parent, as a family head. At the same time, you're also heading the organization. So it connects very much. When you were speaking, you were talking not only from that perspective as a parent, but you're also talking as a leader from an organization perspective. And beside that, when I came to know that you also come from the aviation industry, that was something else. We also have aviators here right now in this particular session. So I would like you to take over, and you can speak for 10 minutes about who you are, and everything can speak, so that those who have not seen you, heard you, they can get more of a perspective about who you are, and then they can ask any question. Now, this question answer session is nothing to do with bombarding of questions. It's all about learning from you, because there are a lot of things that we don't know ourselves. So this is the best platform that you can teach, and you can spread the message that you have gone through the do's and the don'ts in life. Great.
Well, thank you so much, Farookh, for putting this together. And it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. Just simply, I mean, I consider myself to just be the messenger of everything that I've learned over the years of transformation on a personal development standpoint, professional development, a lot of the people that have been mentors in my life, and just taking that process and really applying it to executives and business leaders, not only on a professional level with their careers and their businesses, but also with their personal lives. So I'm a big advocate that I look at life and business as one. So whatever happens in your personal life affects your business, your career, and vice versa. So for those that, maybe are not familiar, I'm an executive coach, corporate trainer. I'm also a professional speaker. But as Farookh had mentioned, I had started my career in sales, which I spent a majority of that time in sales in the aviation segment. I had spent time representing organizations like Aviation Week, Speed News, Air Transport World Magazine. So I was on the media side. So I used to travel to all the major air shows and worked with a lot of the major companies and supply chains in that particular industry. So, Farookh, when you were with IATA, I know them very, very well. As a matter of fact, I used to be up in Montreal all the time at the headquarters there. Mm-hmm. And a good friend of mine was the head of PR or communications there, Perry Flint, who him and I used to work at Air Transport World. So with that being said, the goal for me is, when I'm working with people and, being the example is all about taking ownership of our own roles, or excuse me, our own roles and duties in life and in our careers. Meaning that we're always looking to the outside for that information or certain things that are going to, make things better. And I'm a firm believer that it's always our responsibility, each one of us, to really go within to really understand what our roles are in life, whether if that is a spouse, a parent, whether what your role is in your business or career, and then really understanding not only the role, but also your duties that go along with that. And then how you relate to others in an interdependent versus a codependent way by understanding their roles and their duties so that you can come together and communicate more effectively, more specifically, and lead by example. Meaning that we want to leave the managing process to resources and systems and really lead by example for people, empower them to take ownership of those roles and duties for themselves so that when we come together, we can be more efficient, more productive, and of course, more profitable. And again, I'm a firm believer that all of these principles apply to not only in the business world, but also your personal life, things that you do in your communities. And, again, we can't change what other people are going to do, what they're going to say, how they're going to react, but we can control what we do. We can control our attitudes coming from a place of gratitude, empathy, and kindness. And so when we can control what we can and let go of the rest, we really can move forward and be the example of interdependent behavior and communication that will empower others over time to do the same. Now, does that mean they're always going to do that? No. But nonetheless, you increase those percentages, increase the percentages that people are going to make changes because they make changes when they decide to do it for themselves and what they observe in other people. It's not what, when somebody's been told something. It's kind of like when you're a little kid and, your parents tell you, how, when, or why to do something. And what ends up happening, you do the direct opposite. I know I did. I was not a saint growing up. I can tell you that. But that was all part of my transformation process. And I feel that, when we can really be the example of those core values, our attitude coming from gratitude, we really can empower people in a good way to draw their own conclusions, what they can do for themselves. And that's what I represent. That's what I'm all about. And core values are the foundation of what that is. So whatever your core values are, for me, it's being transparent, it's honesty, it's integrity. And then with integrity, meaning that I'm always doing the right thing when no one's looking. So, I always say, and I believe I shared this on Farookh's podcast, is a statement that I live by each and every day. And that is, give without expectation, receive without resistance. And give without expectation means that I'm not giving in a pleasing or an enabling way, which is codependent, but I'm giving without expectation from a place of empathy and kindness. So there is, where I can draw a boundary if somebody, is invading that space in a codependent way. But when I give without expectation, you open up to receive without resistance, meaning that it may not come back to the person you're giving to or the source you're giving to, but it always comes back, and that you can receive it without resistance. And this is something that I advocate in all of my corporate trainings, in my, when I'm doing one-on-ones with executive coaching, whether if I'm doing a keynote or talking at a charity or whatever, personal development event. This is something that I strongly always put out there to, allow people to draw their own conclusion, what that means to them, and so on. So that's just a little bit about, myself and some of the principles, values that I stand by, and things that I like to put out there and help people with and define within themselves what will make them a better, a better producer in their business, a better friend, a better spouse, a better parent, and so on.
Wow, wow, that was absolutely amazing. How many of you liked it? Come on, go and comment. Come on, go and comment. What is your response to this around about 5 to 7 minutes of talk? Come on, tell me. You loved it. I loved it. Okay, I want some more. I want everyone to come and answer. Okay, it was fantastic. Very good. Nice. Loved it. Love it. Very good. Interesting. Super awesome. Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Chris. You brought in very strong words like ownership, responsibility, roles, your duties, interdependent and codependent. You spoke about life as an example. You spoke about gratitude, you spoke about attitude, you spoke about empathy, you spoke about core values, you spoke about your core values, that is integrity, honesty, empathy, trust, give sorry, that was expectation, without expectation, if I'm correct. Yes, and receive without resistance, so strong. And then you spoke about keynote. You use this whether you are doing a keynote or whether you're doing an executive coaching, you apply all this principle. That means whatever you talk on the stage and off the stage is very congruent to who you are as a human being and as a leader. Thank you very much, Chris. Thanks a lot. That was solid. That shows how strong he is as a leader in and out. Everything comes from within. It's not from outside. You don't change based off the garbage that's happening outside, but you bring the inner diamond from within yourself. Thank you very much, Chris, for sharing that. Now, now the question goes to the audience. One at a time, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Please ask clearly. And if it's not clear, then I can recap or paraphrase that to Chris. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Chris.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Rashid from Dubai.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. My question is, what would be the next revolution in industry after COVID-19?
What will be the next? I'm trying to hear what was it?
Yeah, what would be the next revolution?
Next revolution
in the industry after COVID-19.
Well,
from your perspective.
From my perspective, like I said, I'm an optimist, but yet I'm also realistic. But I'm a firm believer, like, we've had a lot of things, like, here in the United States, we had 9/11, almost 20 years ago. In this case, well, it was, 19 years ago. But nonetheless, we thought at that time that was a defining moment in U.S. history. This would change how people, how they looked at life and could they do things differently. And there was a short period of time where people were turning that way, but then went right back to their old ways, and not to say that that was a bad thing. But nonetheless, it wasn't a shift or a transformation. But what I see with COVID-19 is that this affected everyone. This wasn't just an isolated area of the world. This affected everyone, that we are all human beings, regardless of our religion, regardless of our backgrounds. This affected everyone, that we can all come together, and regardless of any differences, any things, but we can all find some common values, again, that really resonate with us as human beings, and how we can come together to collaborate and do things that really are impactful, that really help people. And the way I'm feeling is I'm seeing signs of that, but I'm not saying that for certain, because again, 9/11 here, from when I experienced that, thought that could be the case here, but that it didn't happen. But what I'm saying is that this is I think a great opportunity to just kind of look at what's really important in life. Family, friends, people. Of course we all want to produce and make money in our businesses, but it doesn't have to be at the expense of other people. So I'm a firm believer that I'm seeing more collaboration, people coming together. And I think that is something that I'm hoping is going to be the next revolution in a good way, that brings more people together regardless of where they are in the world. And now with the technology that we have with, these virtual communication platforms like Zoom, and there's so many others, we're just like seconds away of connecting with someone anywhere in the world. You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, face-to-face is always going to be the best, but, you know, it's not going to always be feasible for everyone. But in this case, we can touch lives if we use the technology, you know, effectively in a good way to make a difference.
That was powerful. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Rashid, are you okay with the answer, with the response?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Question.
Okay, good. Who is next, please?
Hello, Chris. I'm Rajesh from India.
Hi, Rajesh. How you doing?
Fine, fine. I just wanted to know, different people require different levels of motivation. It depends on the age, it depends on the economic strata, what they are in. So how do you normally connect to different kinds of people?
Good, great question. You know, yeah, there's going to be different generation types, right? You know, different people from different cultures, different generation types. So it's not all, you know, one size fits all in terms of, so one of the things that I find when you are truly operating from your core values. So again, for me, it's transparency, it's honesty, it's integrity. It doesn't mean when I'm communicating with someone, whether if I were on the stage and you had 100 people, am I going to connect and resonate with everybody in that crowd? No, because some people may have different values than me. That doesn't mean that they're wrong. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It doesn't mean they're right and I'm right. It's just that for some reason there's not a connection. So when we come to the realization that we're not going to be everything for everyone, but we know that we can be something for someone, in this case, more than one person, we can connect on similar values where we can, you know, do things together. Now, getting to your question about motivation, that, you know, everybody, you know, grew up in different times, baby boomers, and you got Gen Xers and millennials and Gen Zers, and they all have different experiences. So, and I'm a firm believer that motivation always comes from within. No one can truly motivate another person. Now, people would say, well, Tony Robbins is the biggest motivator of them all. And I know Tony. I do a lot of Tony's events at his power team where I talk. And Tony is wonderful.
What happened? What happened? You're muted. Chris, you're muted yourself.
Here it goes. That was weird. That it just went on its own. I didn't do anything.
Okay, you were speaking about Tony Robbins. Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what I was talking about is that motivation, people can inspire you, right? People can inspire you, but it's up to that person to take that inspiration or that where they can relate to it, that they feel that somebody, what you would talk to them, that they felt that you could relate to them, and they feel understood, then they're more likely to take that and find within themselves the intrinsic motivation to do something with it. Now, motivation is not easy, especially coming from someone on the inside. It takes time. So discipline is kind of like the training wheels before you ride the bike. When you don't have that internal motivation initially, you got to rely upon discipline. So meaning that you're doing things that you normally haven't done. Maybe you don't like to do them, but you know they're good for you, whether if it's for your well-being, for your relationship, for your business, for your career. You do it anyway every day and being consistent so that over time, you begin to adopt new patterns that serve you in a healthy way in any of those areas that will eventually be your intrinsic motivation to do so. So people can inspire others, but I'm not a believer in that they can truly motivate you to do what you would like to do, but just don't feel like you can do it yourself. That's got to be, again, discipline, you know, habits and disciplines that become patterns over time. That will be the best thing to do to motivate from within to do bigger, better things in your life and business.
Wow, that was absolutely great. Strong words. We can't be for everything. We can't do everything for everyone. We can do something for someone. That was a very strong statement. The powerful word that Chris used here was about motivation, and that is what I'm a firm believer. You can't motivate. others. And I never like to use the word motivational speaker because I can't motivate anybody else. And that's exactly what Chris also stands for. You spoke about inspiring people, but it's all about understanding the other person. It's all about discipline, which is a very strong word. And one of the strongest words Chris used here is consistency. Chris, I would like to explain. I know that consistency is very important. It's a key to success. Please go a little more in depth about consistency so everyone can understand what you exactly mean by consistency. How did consistency change you from what you were to what you are today?
Well, I mean, the consistency is what defines your values and your character on an ongoing basis. It's what keeps that pattern sustainable over time. So if your communication is very specific, it's very clear, you're less likely going to have conflict with others, because conflict from communication comes from assuming and speculating. That's how most communication is. We assume something and speculate, but it may not even be the case. That might not even be the intent of what the person said, but the person perceived it a different way. So with consistency, when we're doing things that we know that are good for us, that's going to have a dramatic impact on our performance, our character, our attitude, the ability to really live by those core values each and every day. It's like a company saying that, well, these are our core values. We're all about integrity, honesty, and whatever. And yet they're not doing that on a consistent basis. And then all of a sudden you're working in that company, and yet you're seeing communication, behavior, and lack of leadership that contradicts everything that you says on the wall when you come into work. That's not the case because it's not consistent. So consistency is the action. It's an action word that says that in order for this to become set in stone, it's got to be something that you do consistently every day. So I'll give you an example for myself. I have a daily routine that I do every morning. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. And this is, not only did it get me out of the problem, but it created the solution and is my success foundation that I live by. I wake up at 4:15 in the morning, every morning. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed, I get up at that time. I don't need an alarm clock because I've been doing it a long time. I make my bed. I wasn't in the military, but I make my bed, and then I meditate for 20 minutes. I journal, meaning I write down whatever comes to mind. That's my subconscious mind talking to my conscious mind to see what could be getting in the way or holding me back. And then what I do is I'll work out, I'll do some physical activity. I'll come back, shower, eat a healthy breakfast. I'll read out of a personal development, professional development book, a business book, whatever is relevant to what I'm working on at the time. And then I'll review my daily goals for the day, and then I start my day. Now, a lot of people might say, well, God, that's a lot of things to do to start your day. Well, again, I'm getting up at 4:15. So a lot of that is done by, say, 7 o'clock, and then I'm ready to go. So does that mean that people all have to do the same thing? Absolutely not. Again, it's not a one size fits all. It's finding your routine through habits and disciplines that will serve you. I can recommend that meditation and journaling are powerful. The two habits that I think are so universal, that can, provide a tremendous impact on anyone's life, whether if you could play it into your prayers and to the religion that you practice, and incorporate that into your day. And it just makes a world of difference. It provides clarity. And when you have clarity, you have the ability to offset fear, because fear can't reside in the present moment. It's in the past and the future. And when you have clarity, you're more decisive. And when you're more decisive, you can take action.
Wow, that was powerful. You spoke about journaling. And today I was showing the 3 journals I keep with me every single day. One is my goal. And you said that you have to review your goal every single day. What a powerful. How did you like that? How do you like this? This is a goal. My dear friends, understand that whatever is coming from Chris right now, it's gold. You have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get this, which you are getting absolutely free right now from the horse's mouth. Come on, I want to see your comments. Okay, it's great. It's superb, beyond words. Absolutely. It's empowering. Thanks. Wow, amazing. It's great, amazing, wonderful. There you go, Chris. There you go. Most valuable.
Thank you,
really
everybody.
amazing.
I received that with gratitude and just thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be giving this information today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller, please. Yes, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself. Where are you calling from? And go ahead. Yes, please. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Chris.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a great honor to meet and talk to you this evening.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, Bashir Ahmed from Doha, Qatar. Hi, Chris, I just want to know, now there are hundreds and thousands of distractions around us. How we can at least manage the distractions when we are concentrating in something important. Still, some messages, some notifications, these are continuously moving us from one point to another.
Absolutely.
I hope to get a good answer from you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Fantastic question. I mean, yes, there are so many things going around us, in this world, there's a lot of distractions. And of course, life is always going to get in the way if we allow it. And so the thing about, not allowing certain things in life to get in the way, or things that will impact your priorities that you're focused on, is that we all have to learn how to be in the present moment. Because if we have the ability to be present, we have the ability to be focused. And then when we have the ability to be focused, we then have a better understanding of the priorities that really matter. So it's not that we're getting caught up when we're being busy all day and we think that oh my God, I worked 10 or 12 hours today. But then when you really look at it, it was like I was busy, but I wasn't productive. That's just another form of procrastination. Procrastination doesn't mean you just sit around doing nothing. Procrastination can mean that you're busy, but you're avoiding the priorities that matter, but yet you're focused on things that don't take you out of your comfort zone. So in order to help offset, distractions and keep focused is again, learning to be present. Meditation and journaling are the two habits that over time can become a pattern that will help you to become clear. It will also help you to identify any limited beliefs from your childhood that could be impacting you now as an adult that affect your ability to communicate with yourself and others, not in a good way, whether what your confidence level, your self-esteem level, your ability to make decisions, take risks, and so on. When you can address that through meditation and journaling and learn how to be clear and come from a higher level place of confidence, you can begin to be now more focused on the priorities that matter. You'll be able to come out of your comfort zone and trust the process. Trusting the process means controlling what you can in that moment and letting go of the rest that you can't control. Now, you also have to have a plan. So what does that mean? That, you can't shoot from the hip. You have to have a daily plan, a weekly plan, a monthly plan, quarterly, annually. I call it a life and business strategy. Now, you're not going to be able to plan out your entire life and know everything you're going to be doing, but you can plan out certain things that you do every day. I gave you my routine. I can write that down for the rest of my life that I'm here on planet Earth. I'll be doing that to the day I die. Now, what you're doing is you're writing down the priorities that matter, ranking them in level of importance, so that when you're engaged in that moment with that task, that's all you're focused on. You're giving 100%. You're not thinking about what I got to do later to pick up my kids, or that, I got a family function this Saturday and I got to do this and that. You'll designate a time for that, then to put your energy into that. So this way, every task gets 100% of your attention. And just like with anything, thoughts, is energy. So when you put all that energy into something that matters, you're more likely to get it done, because now you're valuing your time. You're not managing your time, and you're more likely to get these things done in a timely fashion. And really, you find work, harmony in your work and your personal life. So is it a perfect recipe that I just gave you? No, but nonetheless, it will increase the odds of being more focused, getting things more done. And again, not getting caught up in multitasking and allowing fear to interject from the past and the future to create anxiety, which will then throw you off and allow life to get in the way and procrastinate.
Wow, that was again strong statement. Live in the present. How many of you got it? Live in the present. Don't live in the future or in the past. You got to be productive. Being busy does not mean that you're productive. It's two different things. And if you've got a big task, finish it off. You got to have planning. You can have planning like yearly planning, monthly, weekly, and daily planning. Give your thoughts. If you have the thoughts, then you can plan. Thought becomes things for sure. And one thing that I would take away from this, and I know that this is something that we speak very loudly, and this is exactly what Chris said, that you can't manage your time. It's not about time management. It's all about life management. Thank you very much. And never be involved in multitasking. And that is absolutely said. Never be in multitasking. Just focus one thing. If you've got a party, don't think about the party. If you're eating food, just eat food, nothing else. Thank you very much, Chris. That was strong.
That was a great question by Bashir. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Thank you. Next caller, please. Let's take a female voice.
Hi.
Yes. Hi, Afreen. Yes, please. Where are you calling from? Yes, Afreen. Once again, you're not audible.
Just a second.
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, please.
We can hear you.
Hi, I'm Afrin from Saudi Arabia.
Hello.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm very much inspired by your success stories, and it's a pleasure to be here to hear them.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm currently a 10th grader here in Saudi Arabia. So my question is from a student perspective. So I'd like to know any tips or general tips or habits that you would recommend for us students to practice from our age that would help us to be successful in our future personal and professional life. Any general tips?
Absolutely. Great question. And I think this is a really golden opportunity for someone your age, where you can really set a foundation that is rock solid to build on. And this will have a traumatic impact on your confidence and self-esteem to do bigger and better things in the areas that you choose to serve others, personally and in the career that you choose. So again, it's really identifying, the things that really that represent who you are, your strengths, your values, and then finding certain habits that will help to really build on that. So, I had mentioned meditation and journaling can be universal for just about anyone, but there could be other things that you can incorporate in there. I always find that when you wake up earlier, maybe so if you wake up at, let's say 6 o'clock in the morning, if you wake up at 5 instead of 6, you always have that extra hour that you could be doing something that can be serving you in a good way from within. So you're building something inside that's going to, affect your self-esteem and confidence. So finding some different habits that can serve you, that will enhance your strengths, enhance your values that represent you, and then keep doing that daily to be able to take you to where you want to go. So I don't want to say what types and say that that's what you should be doing. I'm trying to empower you to find that within yourself, what those habits and disciplines will be, because they're going to be different for everyone. Like for instance, when I get up and make my bed, doesn't mean everyone's got to make their bed. Some people might go down and maybe organize the silverware in their drawer or something like that. It could be anything, they can go and, organize the garage in your house or whatever, so it's just finding something that really that you relate to. It makes you feel good in a good, healthy way, and just doing those habits that are going to help build that esteem and self-confidence. And it's so critical at a young age, because when you can do that at a young age, you're more likely to offset any particular issues that can affect you as an adult. A lot of times when adults go through mental breakdowns or certain, issues in their life, a lot of it can be traced back to things that happened in their childhood. So if you can address that now, the sooner the better, you're going to be able to have find more harmony in a good way in your adult life.
Wow, that was again a great feed. Let me go back to Afreen. Afreen, you can unmute yourself. Afreen, my question to you is, now you have been empowered by Chris. What is that one thing from you learned from Chris right now? What is that one thing that you would like to adapt in your life which you never did till today after you heard to Chris right now? What is that one thing? I'm not talking about the big change, but what is that one single baby step that you would adapt and practice every single day from what you heard from Chris? What is that one thing? Please unmute yourself. Yes. Yes.
One second. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. One thing that I understood that tips or habits which we follow should come naturally to us from something we enjoy doing, we feel good in a healthy way. That's what I understood. So one thing that I would adapt is I usually wake up around 7 in the morning nowadays. So I like to wake up early, but I don't do it often because, of course, I can get a lot of things done. So I would definitely wake up earlier I'll go to bed earlier so I can wake up earlier so I can get more done in the day.
Congratulations. Fabulous. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris, for motivating her and inspiring and empowering her. That was a great
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ephraim, for your question. Thank you so much. And you're an inspiration for other teens your age. So keep doing what you're doing.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Much.
Let's take one more female voice, please. Let's take one more female voice, please.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Amina. How you doing?
Good evening.
Hi.
Yes, this is Amina from Dubai.
How you doing?
Fine, fine. I'm blessed. I watched many of your videos.
Oh, thank you.
Wherever you talk now, the one thing I understood that you are a man of value, man of values.
Yes, it's very important to me. Family is very important to me as well.
Yes, yes. So can you tell me values we people share in common?
Well, I would say that, again, I think family, right? I'm not going to say that that's for everyone, but I know in the United States, family values kind of went by the wayside. It used to be back in the day when I was growing up as a young boy, I remember getting together with my cousins and my aunts and uncles almost seemed like every other weekend or every weekend. Now, today in the United States, you're lucky if you see your relatives for like one holiday. I mean, those values have gone out the door.
Yes.
I mean, I'm married to a Latin woman. My wife is originally from Venezuela, and they have very strong family values. And I think, in my opinion, everything outside the U.S., I think family is really an important part and a very important value. And that's something I cherish because I'm a firm believer that when you have a strong family unit, that is where when parents can be better examples for their children, that helps them to grow into adults with higher levels of confidence and self-esteem, allowing them to really focus on their strengths and really serve more. So I'm a firm believer that when you have strong family values, and I think most of the world does, if we could learn how to really build more interdependent family structures in terms of communication, behavior, and leading by example, we can really make this world a better place all the way around. It affects our communities in a positive way, and it'll affect our businesses, our corporations in a positive way as well. So I would say family, if it's a universal value, family.
Wow, that was amazing.
True.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Feel blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, please. Next caller, please. Let's take the next caller. Next caller. Anyone?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm Mujib from where are you?
Okay.
Hi, Mujib.
Hi, I'm very nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I'm very grateful to go down to you also Farookh Sensei has given a wonderful and fabulous chance to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I searched today your name at Google today.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a doubt, transparent leadership and traditional leadership.
Okay.
So
I don't,
did I hear it? So traditional leadership versus something else?
What was it? Make it much more clear, Mujib. You said
I have read from you transparent leadership and traditional leadership.
transparent leadership and traditional leadership. You
Got it,
stated somewhere,
okay.
and these people have done all the research to find out who you are.
Got it. I just want to make sure. So he's speaking I love that, transparent. So with that being said, I mean, traditional leadership, again, and this is not, I'm not saying this in a negative way. This is all, we know what we know. So, like baby boomers, when they grew up, they learned, they learned from what they observed growing up, and this is how things were. But traditional leadership tends to focus on, managing problems, instead of just, always creating solutions and empowering. It's managing people. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that, sometimes people feel they need to be managed because they need some direction and all that. Mm-hmm. However, if you really look at, if you were to really apply KPIs, key performance indicators to this, you will see that there's not much of a difference with when you manage people, that you're going to see a major increase in performance. I'm a firm believer that transparent leadership has the ability to lead by example. That, again, people are more likely to make changes when they observe rather than what's been told to them. So when you tell somebody how, when, or why to do it, they're more likely to be resistant. They may not know that consciously, but it's subconscious. Now, there are people that will seek advice, and that's okay. But again, it's allowing them to draw their own conclusion of what that means to them, rather than saying that this is what you should do, and allowing them to do, find within themselves to do it in a way that plays to their strengths. So just because if somebody does it this way, like, hey, this is how I produce in my job, you should do the same thing. Well, if that person can do it in a way that's conducive to their strength and still have the same results, if not better, then you should allow them to do that. Don't force them into some cookie cutter program that it's not going to play to their strengths. So transparent leadership is focused on the process. It says that the results that you seek individually and together as a business unit are a result of what you put into the process, so that you control what you can and let go of the rest. And then transparent leadership manages processes and systems. It might manage numbers and data and analytics, but it's not managing people in itself. They're coaching people, but they're not telling them what to do. They're leading by example, and again, empowering them to find ways to do things that play to their strengths and offset their weaknesses. So that's the difference between transparent leadership to traditional leadership, which is kind of like a one size fits all, versus, hey, there is no one size. It's going to be custom to each individual. Now, to put something like that into play in a company can be a difficult thing, because they're saying to themselves, well, wait a minute, if we have one system that we could apply to everyone, that's easier to implement rather than a custom approach. But it's not as difficult as people may think it is. But it depends on how many people you have. But over time, I'm a firm believer that if you lead by example, other people will find within themselves to do something better for them. You can't give what you don't have. So when you have the ability to see somebody else doing something good and being productive, you're going to find something in time to do it for yourself. And then it catches on. Then other people see it and they start doing the same. Again, there's no set time. These things can be different phases for different people in terms of timing, but in the long run has a more positive effect on performance and bringing people together in a healthier way in the work environment or in the home or in the community and so on.
Wow, that was great. That was absolutely great. Mujib, now you got the answer? You're happy with that? Great. Let's go for the next caller, please.
One more question, sir.
Let's give a chance to others, then we'll come back to you for sure. Is that
This
okay?
is
Okay, okay.
Right.
May I ask
Yes.
a question?
Yeah, sure, sure. Where are you calling from?
This
Introduce
is
yourself.
Mashood from Doha, Qatar.
Great.
Hello.
First of all, Mr. Chris, you are not only a coach or a trainer, you are really a living example. Thank you very much.
I would say that's probably the most important thing. You see, it's those other titles are just
This is
to
really
just that people can relate to. Okay, that's what he does, but it's the why. The example is the why I do what I do. It's not the what.
correct. My question now is actually now in this pandemic time, around the world, most of the people are in quarantine either individually or family. Even me, an example, my family left to India last week. They're under quarantine now around 14 days. What is your advices to the people, those who are in quarantine, to effectively utilize their time and to get relaxed?
Yeah, I mean, again, this has been a transition for a lot of people. For those that have been working from their homes, or maybe managing their lives at the same time, maybe they're used to it. Like somebody like myself, I've been working remotely now for almost 20 years. So this is, wasn't really a transition for me, but for some people, some of my clients where they went into a job every day and now they're working from home, their children can't go to school. They had to be homeschooled or it's distance learning they're doing on the computers. This was a big transition. And in some ways this could be a good thing. In some ways it could be not a good thing, especially if you're not ready to adapt to it yet. So the thing is to kind of look at it again as a process. This thing isn't going to happen overnight. So it's again learning that whatever's not working or whatever fears you're having is to identify, okay, that you're aware that's the case. What can be done differently that you can do one thing to start changing that, to find some structure to adapt to that. So instead of like dwelling on the problem and trying to take care of everything all at once, do one step at a time to address one thing that you can be changed to make the process easier, so you can start to ease into, taking care of your children, designating certain times, depending upon how old they are, taking time for yourself, taking time to tend to your business and your job, and so on. Again, having that plan, that having some goals laid out and being laser focused in the moment, having that success foundation that we talked about earlier. These are the things that will help you to adapt to this situation and find some harmony in, working from home and while your family's there. Because like obviously you might have screaming kids, they're playing, they're making noise, and you're trying to work, and so some people could be like, but if we can find ways to kind of, again, control what we can, let go of what we can't, have a plan, be structured, have a consistent routine of a pattern of habits that serve you, you're more likely to set up like a routine in your day this way that will be better and work to your advantage. It's never going to be perfect. There's going to be certain days that, you're going to be like, God, I hope this day passes, but nonetheless, it will pass and it'll be a better day the next day. So it's just kind of looking at it from a point of view that no matter what's happening, things will get better. It's trusting that process, that every difficult period you go to beyond your control, whether personal or in business, it's just going to make you stronger, build your character, and put you steps ahead of where you are than rather steps behind. Even though you might take a few steps backwards, it's necessary to step forward later on. So that's kind of the advice I would give you there. You just got to find some structure, some routine, things that are healthy, that are going to serve you, and try not to be perfect. Just, allow you to ease into it, doing one thing at a time to make that happen.
Wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. My dear friends, make sure that once this video is uploaded, you watch this again and again. There is a lot of wisdom that is coming out. You got to take your notes. Maybe if you're not able to take notes now, just go and watch this video. It would be posted tonight within the next 2 hours time. So make sure that you go and you make your own notes. Thank you very much, Chris. That was amazing. Next caller, please. Next caller. You got only 10 minutes more, so next caller.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself and where
Hi,
are you calling
Christopher.
from?
How are you? It's me, George from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu.
Hey, George.
How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah, fine, fine, sir. My question is, how can we efficiently add value to another human being?
How can we value another human being?
How can you effectively add value to another human
value
being?
to another human being. Okay, got it. So that's another great question. So again, here's it's really again you being the example from your core values. So like again, for me, transparency, being honest, and coming from integrity. So it's doing that, and it's again giving without expectation, receiving without resistance. And again, because again, you can't control what they're going to, how they're going to receive it, how they're going to react to it, what they're going to say. It's only that, but if you're giving with the right intent, that if it's coming from the heart, from those values, again, letting go of how they're going to perceive it, that's giving value. Now, if they don't see the value, then that's fine. That doesn't mean that you didn't do anything right, that you could have done better. That has nothing to do with it. It's just that they're not willing to receive, or their values just don't align with yours. And for whatever reason, it's fine. It's just not a fit. You move on. And but it's giving without that expectation and receiving without resistance. Is just giving that and allowing that person to draw their own conclusion of what that means to them, and just letting go of the outcome. That's it. And I know it sounds easy, but with time it can get easier. Don't get caught up in the expectation of the value that you're trying to give to someone. Oh my God, if I could have done this, if they said it better, it would have, maybe they would have liked me. But don't get caught up. Just be the example and come from the right intent, from your values. And when you can do that, you are truly adding value to another person. It's going to be up to them to decide, do they feel that you can relate to them and understand them? Because when somebody feels they've been related to and understood on those similar values, you have then added value to them. And more or less, they're going to let you know that you did. They're going to thank you. They're going to, just say, you made my day, whatever the case may be. So that it's about the intent. So just letting go of the outcome, letting go of the result, just giving without expectation.
That was great. That was great.
Thank you, Chris.
If you have noticed that all the answers that Chris is giving is based on his core value. It's one way or other. It's just circulating that, because he has really identified what his core values are, and he's living as an example on his core values. So as individuals and as leaders, it is also our responsibility to find out our core values, and you should be very strong. One of the core values that Chris follows is integrity. It doesn't matter whether people are there or not there, he is true. That's what he said. He's truth. Whether you're watching, you're not watching, but still is true on that. So any answer that he's giving is based on his core values. So make sure that if you don't have, or if you haven't identified your core value, you got to identify and write down and follow and stick on to your core value. Very powerful, Chris. Next, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Chris. Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon. Hi.
This is Shamir from Qatar.
How you doing, Shamir?
Fantastic. Thank you.
And
my question.
Shamir is the one, in fact, doing everything from the back end right now, sitting in Qatar. So thank you very much, Shamir, for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My question is related to that. You said in the interview with Mr. Sensei, so vulnerability is not the weakness, but strength. But I don't want to be exposed. So, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader.
Yes.
So
one of the things is again, it's like vulnerability, especially for us men, can oftentimes be viewed as a weakness, but it is actually a strength. That's where transparency comes in. But however, as you mentioned, Shamir, we don't want to set ourselves up where somebody takes advantage of that or tries to manipulate something that we're doing. Again, that's that fine line. Like say that my hands are in the middle right now. This side can be, when I'm coming from empathy and kindness, it may reach a point where someone is still pushing and pushing, wanting more and more, but in a way that is codependent to because it wants to take you, not intentionally, but wants to take you from the empathy and kindness to the pleasing, enabling side, which is codependency. So we want to avoid that. So we don't want to expose ourselves to the point where we're giving without expectation is now like in a way draining that from you, which, can drain your energy. So that's where we have to know where to put a boundary. So it's okay to give without expectation and be that example, but knowing when to draw a boundary so that it doesn't position you to have someone take advantage of the situation or take your energy and so on, because that could easily happen. And a lot of times it's not from somebody's ill intention to do that. It's just because of where they're at that point, and they're codependent, and they're just looking for something to fill this hole inside of them. They can't go within. They don't know how to. They're afraid to, and they're seeking it from somebody like yourself. And but you got to know when to draw the line. Like, for instance, if you're having a conversation with somebody and it begins to get a little bit, out of hand, you start to get into a point where it's now, there's some conflict. It's not from your side, but from their side. It's just knowing to say, hey, listen, how about we continue this conversation tomorrow when we're both in a better place, and we can resolve this. Knowing when to walk away or to stop something or step aside is okay, or it's okay to say no for right now, and let's pick another time when it might be a better place. A lot of times, those cases, people could be coming from some negative emotions that have nothing to do with you, and you might have said something that sparked something inside of them that they don't like, and now that's why they're putting it onto you. So again, it's never intentional. It's not about you. It's about them. But again, from your end of it, it's knowing when to not expose yourself too much and not to cross that line from empathy and kindness into pleasing and enabling, or allowing people to take you out of your calm zone, so to speak.
Wow, that was great. How many of you like that one? Go to the chat, please. Go to the chat. It's all about invading the space. You got to know where to stop. Very good. Excellent. Love it.
Yeah, you can't control what other people are going to do, but it's okay. Again, you're not airing your dirty laundry, Shamir. That's not what we're saying here. But what we're saying is that it's okay to be transparent to people. And here's why. People relate to people where they are. So if let's say you had setbacks in your life and you were out there looking to inspire your team to do something, you may say to them, hey, I've been in your shoes and I've made mistakes. Mm-hmm. I remember when I made a mistake back 15 years ago doing this, and I learned the hard way, but yet I learned and I became very effective. Somebody can relate to that because that's where they're at. If we came across as that I do no wrong, I'm perfect, and that's why I'm the VP of the company, people can't relate to that. So there's going to be a disconnect. That's not going to lead to interdependent behavior and communication to succeed. People relate to people where they are. So it's learning to relate to them where they are. So this is where, it's okay to be transparent, but not where you have to expose yourself to the point where, you're telling everybody about all your downfalls and things that are going on. So just knowing to know where to relate to them.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you very much, Chris. We'll take 2 more questions. Let's go to the female.
Hi, Chris and Sensei.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine.
Good. Go ahead.
My name is Rana Rizak from India.
Hi,
I
Rana.
have a question. I'm doing fine. What's the motto you always believe in your life?
What is the what I believe in my life?
What is the motto that you? The motto.
Oh, a model, like a model,
Yeah.
platform. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The principles that you follow. The motto.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about, again, I believe in the universe. I believe in the power of the universe. And for me, we're all energy. And as a result of being energy, it's just that I know that I have to come and do my part in order for the process to do its part. So if we're doing the right thing from our values, okay, then and I have the right intent coming from me from those values, then I know that I'm, that's what I live my life. That's the model that I live and operate my business every day. Does that mean everything's going to go right and go perfect? No, but nonetheless, it's again knowing that whatever difficulties that I go through still from that model, that I know it's taking me one step closer to something better, because I had to go through this to learn that to get to where I want to be again. So trusting that process. So it's always gets back to those values, Rena, that I live by, and trusting the process.
Wow, that was great. Let's take one last question.
Hi, Chris. This is Rija from Oman.
Rija from Oman. Okay, go ahead, please.
As you are specialized in business coach, I just wanted to ask you two questions which is related to each other. Especially business which are involved in showroom sales are facing a challenging time at this COVID time. What's your suggestion to improve this sales staff, their high spirits, to keep their high spirit?
So people that during this difficult time, just to kind of help them raise their spirits?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Especially those who are in sales.
Yeah.
They need to be in, always in good mood, but these times it's very difficult to manage with them.
Yeah, I would say that like just like how we're here right now, all together here on a Saturday, talking here. So, I'm beginning to see a lot of companies doing these, like, if you want to call them town hall sessions or fireside chats, whatever you want to call them, is that you can use these virtual platforms to bring people together, no matter where they are around the world, in your company, and to provide go over certain topics, like things that we're talking about today. Make it interactive, make it engaging, get people involved. It's okay to let people share their vulnerabilities and what they're going through, because this is how we all help each other. Because when somebody is sharing, they're not only getting helped and you're helping them, but you're helping other people that may be listening. So the good news is that I've seen a lot of companies putting on webinars, not for just traditional business stuff, but like things that people could do everyday life. Like I just did a webinar for Pratt & Whitney jet engines recently on working at home with children, because for the first time, a lot of people at Pratt & Whitney were working from home. A lot of those, Farookh knows that, for Pratt & Whitney, people go to work every day. It's not, you don't work from home too often. And, some people do, but most of the company doesn't. But in this case, this was the first time that they were working from home, and they didn't know how to handle this situation, especially having kids. So they want to provide resources that are going to help people in their daily lives, in their careers, and they'll also help lift their spirits. And so it's, it's again, encouraging people, not telling them what to do, to say that, hey, focus on the good of what's happening. What can you do to improve yourself? What can we do together to improve as a company? How can we help each other through our example? And encouraging people not to get caught up in the daily news, that's going on, because that's always about all the bad stuff that's happening. It's again, plugging into the things that are good and in giving them resources that allow them to improve themselves. Because when they can improve themselves, they're going to be a better example for their families, their colleagues at work. And it doesn't matter if they're together, they could do it remotely. So I think a lot of these sessions with virtual communication platforms offer a viable tool and platform to really uplift people in a way that allows them to do that for themselves. You're giving them the resources to allow them to do that for themselves.
Well, it's all about empowering.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. We've got a special request from a young leader, Hannah. So this is going to be the last one, okay? Right.
That's it. Hey, Hannah.
Okay.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm from India. I have a question to ask.
Sure.
What is the greatest achievement in your life?
Oh my God, that is wonderful. Wow, I think the greatest achievement of my life, again, would be, being a father and being a father and a role model and being the example for my young son, who now is 12 years old. I can say that when I was growing up, and my dad was not really present in my life. My dad was busy traveling, working. I didn't have a lot of direction growing up, and I had a rough childhood. I grew up, not learning the hard way, and that's why I'm here today as a different man, different person, because I've seen the other side, and as a result of that, that's why I'm transparent. So being a father is now doing the exact things for my son as a role model and as a father that I didn't have growing up, so that my son, when he gets married and has his own children, can now be able to instill those interdependent behaviors and communication to his children, so that they have a better childhood and then lead healthy and productive lives in their adult lives. So for me, the greatest achievement is being a consistent father on those values. And what a great question you have. Thank you for addressing that, or for stating that today.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Chris and Sensei.
Thank you very much. Chris, it's a great honor and a great pleasure to have you today with all of us. And you really inspired us, motivated us, and empowered us. It's on behalf of the entire team who are here, I would like to thank you for taking your time. I would like everyone to go onto the chat and thank Chris and wish him all the best. I would like everyone to go and thank and wish him all the best, please.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate taking your time today to be here, and it's been a pleasure. As I always say, that I'm giving without expectation, but I'm receiving as well. And I'm receiving this love and just compassion and empathy. I love it. So, go out there and do the same for others.
Thank you, and that's exactly what we'll do. Thank you very much, Chris, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Farookh, for all you do and putting this all together today.
Thank you, and you have a very lovely day ahead of you and a very lovely life ahead of you.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, and God bless you.
God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.